So speaking of handstands on bicycles, after May 1st, children will be required in the province of Manitoba to wear bike helmets at all times when they're riding their bikes. That's come out and everybody has said, it's been like a universal chorus of, isn't that already mandatory?
Exactly.
It's not, actually. And adults don't have to wear them. Bike helmets are not mandatory. I mean, for kids it makes sense, clearly, and especially with all of the new information about concussions that we have and safety, and kids still try to do handstands on their bikes, especially now that there's YouTube and there's all sorts of...
So at least they're doing it right now.
Yeah, right. But
with the helmet on.
The guys from Jackass and whatnot with such fabulous tricks
they
to
drink a whole bunch
emulate.
of milk for it.
Yeah, exactly. Which makes it impossible to do a handstand, by the way. Like, when you get full of milk. Oh, man.
That doesn't fit this equation.
Yeah.
Anyway, but should they be mandatory for adults? I kind of feel like they should.
Oh, yeah.
With the speed of traffic and distracted driving and the speed of technology increasing around us, I feel like adults shouldn't be immune to it. Like, our heads aren't any safer without a helmet on.
But if they're going to make something like seatbelts mandatory, sure, then of course, because I think bike helmets would be more instrumental in saving someone's life than a seatbelt.
I think so too. I mean, it's a matter of, I mean, like you said, the traffic's going faster, and I mean, I can't count how many times I've been, driving to work, and you see these bikers ripping in between traffic. That's a whole other conversation. But I mean, just the fact that almost anything can happen out there, why not? I mean, I take good care of my hair as much as anybody else's, but you can redo it afterwards.
As much more, yeah, for sure.
This is a hair conversation.
It is.
You know what, though? I mean, Taryn, my boyfriend, rides his bike to work all summer long, and boy, there's been some close calls. Like, it makes me nervous, and he wears a helmet at all times. He's a triathlete, so it's just sort of part of his...
Like at all times on a bike?
No, at all times.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, at home.
At
the office,
yeah, that's right. It's not well liked.
Safety first.
No, but I mean, there's been a couple of really close calls with him in traffic, and sometimes in the summer he'll, for a training exercise, want to ride the perimeter. Oh my God, that's my scariest day. It's frightening. At least he's wearing a helmet, but I mean,
those speeds, I mean.
Yeah.
Well, exactly right, but that's just it. That yet there's people who happily hop on their bicycles without anything on their head, and I just think you're ridiculous. Who cares about your hair getting smashed down, right?
I know. In all defense of people that don't wear a helmet, I guess maybe it's the sense that it impedes their sight, their sound, or whatever was going. It shouldn't. But then what about if you want to just do a recreational bike ride and for people that get in their car with their bikes on top of their car and drive to a park?
I don't know.
Does the helmet ruin that recreational bike ride, though?
Yes.
Really? In what way?
It doesn't go with the outfit.
It doesn't go with the outfit. It's so
You just gotta
unromantic.
get a new outfit.
It's a nice little date on a bicycle built for two with these I know.
But I mean, we didn't wear bike helmets as kids, and we're generally mostly fine.
Well, except for those of us who died because they didn't wear bike helmets.
But I think the traffic was way less.
Oh, for sure.
I'm just really curious how they're going to enforce it, because I mean, when they were, I know a lot of people who got tickets on the Osborne Bridge last summer. That was kind of the big biking story, was how many people were getting ticketed for biking on the sidewalk. Which, by the way, that was crazy that they were getting ticketed, because there was so much construction. I'm not going to drive. I wouldn't bike on the road either.
No way. Yeah.
But anyways, that was last year, and so the cops would hand out tickets to them personally. But if you're not going to hand out a ticket to a kid, you're going to have to figure out how to.
There is no ticket. They've talked about there is no ticketing for that. I mean, I guess it's just.
So then how is it what do they do to enforce the law?
Apparently, I don't know exactly how the whole ticket thing works. I was on my way to an event last night, and I happened to hear it in the car. And it's a matter of when the kid gets to a certain age, that fine can be given to the kid right away. I think it's 14.
Between 14 and 18.
Yeah, 14 and 18. But the thing is, you can get out of the fine by taking an online biker safety course.
Awesome.
Oh, well, that's just...
It's a good way to
Just
enforce
saying.
people to take bike safety courses.
Oh, but an online bike safety course? Really? How many of us have taken an online course or an online test? Really?
Never.
Just saying.
Way too daunting.
Too daunting.
This is maybe a bridge to a place we don't want to go, but a friend of mine, she is a teacher in an Ontario school, and recently they had a cop come in and talk about online safety for predators and things like that with the kids. And one of her coworkers came over over and leaned over and said, "This used to be the bike cop," which I thought was really like funny in a really sad way. But you used to every year have those cops coming in to do all the bicycle safety stuff. I mean, we didn't have helmets, but I knew how to do all the signs.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
And now they're just bypassing that. They're on to like more serious things.
I guess.
It's funny though, just like you don't ever really see kids riding their bikes without helmets these days.
No.
Like it just.
There's a shift.
Yeah.
There's been a shift in our society. Even I noticed a couple years ago I went downhill skiing in BC. And when I was younger, I used to go skiing with my parents, and no one wore helmets. And at this mountain, everyone was wearing a helmet. Every single person I could see was wearing a helmet. So I think people are a lot less concerned with being cool these days, which I know I am, but
But
there's
you're not
definitely a
that
shift.
cool when you're 4, right? And so if you're just wearing it from the time you're a kid, it's just a thing
But
you
it's
do.
interesting. It's not mandatory to wear a helmet when skiing, right? You could.
It's not mandatory, but
No.
everyone is doing it now.
Yeah.
Although province
Yeah.
to province might be different.
It could be, yeah, for sure.
Because I think in Ontario you have to wear them when you're tobogganing.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
Tobogganing?
Yeah, don't quote me on that, but I do remember that it's a provincial. Obviously, this is a Manitoba law that's come in, so province by province
Yeah,
is different, and
right.
the others will have.
And it doesn't make sense to have a tobogganing law in Manitoba because it's so flat. You know?
Hey man,
thing I
there
wore
are
this
some
helmet.
serious.
Oh, I know, I
You know
know.
there are.
I mean, it's interesting though that people are putting helmets on their kids. You say there's a shift in society, but
Yeah.
we still have to make laws to make sure people do stuff that they know or that they should know better. We should not text and drive. We all know the dangers
Yeah,
of it, and they had to
that's
make a
true.
law, and there's got to be campaigns, and nobody listens to it.
That was a shift in society the other way, right? Like,
Well,
no
but
one,
but you know
that's the
what I'm
equivalent
saying?
of like reading a newspaper and writing someone a note, like back in the before phones. You know, like you're so completely out of it that.
What?
Okay, sorry. Like, okay, what I'm saying is
out of
texting
it.
while driving is something that is like there's been a shift in the opposite direction
Yes.
from safety, right?
Well, but that's what I'm saying, that we're saying like there's a shift in society. We're putting helmets on kids. So, but it seems like in more cases than not, in order to get people to do stuff, you have to make a law. There's got to be a punishment or people just won't bother doing it. So
Which
it's
is
just
interesting because I read recently that the those little signs on the street that tell you how fast you're going.
Yeah. Oh,
That
yeah.
actually those are more effective, and smiley faces saying like, "Hey, you're going the speed limit," are actually more effective in keeping people's speeds down than
Yes.
the ones than getting ticketed and red light cameras. So
Yeah.
actually, positive reinforcement does work more than punishment.
when you're driving, you kind of feel that little guilt trip. You know?
Yeah,
You're
it's
driving and it's like flashing at you. You're like,
self-inflicted.
oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Down to 70 it is. I'm sorry.
Only
Well, because
Mitchell would
everyone can see,
apologize.
right? And they judge you. Like the pedestrians, like, ooh, really? You know, that's horrible.
It is horrible. Okay, we need to take a quick break, but I'm very excited. No, I'm not very excited to talk about some things that are really shaping our society, and that is the royals and pregnancy with celebrities.
I'm not very excited either.